I've tried to tell this story about 3 times now, and the words just aren't coming. The emotions are still very raw, but I think it is how the story is supposed to be told. This YouTube channel, as it presently is about documenting my journey as I attempt to become a full-time writer. And with it come the defeats, and it wouldn't do any good for me to tell you the story of my defeat a week after, when the emotions aren't raw, when the impressions, the feelings, the thoughts aren't quite there. So I'm telling you this about an hour after this major defeat. And I say major defeat knowing full well that over the last month, it's been very good. I've had way more success than I ever imagined in getting clients. I've already landed one very good client. I'm starting to do work for him. He pays very well. It's for a financial investing company. But yesterday, whilst I was talking to another prospective client, I got a message from a massive YouTuber. He'd read some of my stuff, and he would like to talk, as it's right up his street. He wanted someone that could essentially ghostwrite for him. Because the thing is, the YouTube algorithm currently pushes users to just keep churning content. So despite the fact that he'd been producing content for close to a decade and has more than a few million subscribers, he needed help. And I seemed ideal for the job. And as it just so happens to be, I've been following this guy for years. I won't say who it is, because that's not the important thing for this story, and I'm not in the gossip train. And if anything, he was very kind and understanding. Anyway, so he and I started talking, and we started sharing our love for Roman history, for psychology. I basically told him about my life, etc., etc., etc. Everything seemed to be going well, except at the very, very end, he did sort of give me a warning. He said, "Look, I like your style, but I do have to warn you. I'm looking for something very specific for the channel, and I don't want to dash your hopes in case it doesn't work." I laughed it off, thinking, well, my skill will get me through. And honestly, throughout the whole conversation, I was starstruck. I kept shaking throughout it. Like, honestly, it's only happened once, and I just thought that this was my chance. This was what would decide my future. So I managed to convince him to give me my chance for the article, and I was just buzzing with emotion, just super excited. I told my flatmate excitedly, I messaged everyone. I was bouncing from the walls. I couldn't even go to sleep before 4 a.m. I was that excited. And he had given complete creative freedom. The first thing before writing the article, he just wanted like a brief outline of what I'd be discussing. Fair enough. And I just lied in bed all night in the dark, thinking and mulling it over, and I decided that I'd make a script based on the topics that he had said himself that he had liked about my material, both my articles and my videos that I'd showed him. I started cobbling it together in my brain and everything, and the next morning I woke up and instantly I started writing. I started writing as if my life depended on it. And then I sent it off. About an hour, maybe 2 later, I get a message. He wants to talk. And I say, fine. And then in the politest way possible, he says, I actually quite enjoyed the material. I think you make good points. But quite frankly, I think you condensed way too much information into too short of a time. Could you dumb it down a little bit? And I understand, as in, say for example, when you're producing material for public consumption on the web, you can reach mass appeal if you don't make nuanced points. It's far easier to go with political slogans and the like than nuanced points. It's kind of like what Stephen Hawking used to say when talking about equations, where he would say that every single time that you included an equation in your book or research paper or whatever, you lost a portion of your audience. In a far less marked way, the same is true for online content. The more nuanced, the more people have to think about your material, chances are that a decreasing portion of your audience will stay with you until the very end. So I said fine. I took notes of what he wanted. He just wanted 4 bullet points, and all sort of lined directly to make a single point. Fair enough. I took a lot of the nuance, a lot of the digressions out, and gave a completely different angle, which sat better with his sensibilities. I even had my girlfriend look it over, and we hashed it out. I'm super grateful for her, generally. She, in every writing project and the like, she always helps massively. Anyway, so we polished these 4 or 5 bullet points until there wasn't any more polishing. I read it about 50 times. I even told the guy that I wasn't gonna charge him for my usual hourly rate because I hadn't gotten it correct the first time. So I wanted to make amends. I wanted to prove my worth to him. I was that determined. So I sent it off, and then I waited. I saw that he went online, and I waited and waited, and the wait was so excruciating. Like, you have no idea. It's like waiting for the doctor's results whilst he's just tapping away at his keyboard, and you can see him because a Upwork freelance platform allows you to see where people are online. And I saw him tapping away. I saw him online, and the wait became excruciating. Then, about an hour later, I got a message from him, and it is on screen now. It basically says, "I just had a long conversation with my editor, and I respect her a lot. And the thing is, you have skill. We quite liked it. You're very clearly knowledgeable, but it's just not a right fit for our audience."
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
Naturally, I was devastated, because if I manage to charm a YouTuber that has several million subscribers into taking me on as a writer, then a tiny, tiny portion, even if it's 1% of that, will end up with me. And this will obviously allow me to push my writing materials to more people. I'd get people to buy my books, I get people to try my novels, my articles, my videos even. And I thought this would be a surefire way. But no. I tried to convince him. I basically told him I'd do it pro bono. I know, working for exposure and everything of the sort, but he really gave me a good impression, and I completely agreed with him. If I haven't quite captured his style, then obviously I don't think he should feel obligated to keep with me. So I offered him, I'll work pro bono until I'm able to match your style. I don't think it'll take long, because as you well said, I'm a good writer, I know my stuff. I just need time to adapt to your specific style. But no cigar. No. So I basically told him, fine. Would you mind if I'm able to ask you questions every so often about the YouTube game? And I won't ask anything that is Googleable, but I would appreciate some insights. In exchange, I'll gladly be your consultant for any video that you need to do on economics or Roman history, psychology, anything of the sort. And he agreed, so I got him as a contact. I view this as a defeat, honestly, and I've been sitting here for the last hour. I've opened my beer, as you can probably hear. And I'm just sort of sitting in this gloomy room, staring at the wall. And I don't know what I did wrong. Generally, as in, he did issue some clarification later. That, no, my writing style is completely on point. It's just that it just simply doesn't gel well with the audience. Which, fair enough. It's just somewhat disappointing when you can almost kiss your goals. You can almost sense them. You can smell them even. And it's just ripped away from you. You're back to square one. But as it so happens, I'm not in square one. I'm a month into my business. I've gotten a client. I have another one that seems to be interested. There's a third one, which was my original first client, but she's being increasingly less reliable. So, in reality, I just have the one very good client. He always answers his messages, he always pays on time, everything fine. So, I think this is my first brush with potential fame. I might have not been able to grasp it this time around. It's kind of like when I first started the YouTube thing about a year ago. One of my first videos, I made a video where I talked about how luck works. And the thing is, luck is a bit like a skill, as in everyone has random opportunities that they're presented. And the thing is, it takes a certain ability to be able to capitalize on said opportunities. Say, for example, I could have easily simply capitulated, but the reason I initially offered the pro bono work is because I was reminded of Warren Buffett working for, I don't remember the guy's name, but he worked for an investor, essentially for free, and Warren Buffett said that he was actually overpaid despite being a free worker because he was so incompetent at the time, but he was paid with experience, with the knowledge. So I kind of wanted that because I wanted to be able to see inside the mind of someone who has reached the heights that hopefully I'm able to reach one day, who knows. But anyway, long story short, this is the very start of the journey. I've gotten good opportunities. I managed to seize the few, and some, despite my best efforts, I managed to slip into the ether. Who knows, I might be able to make a contact out of him, hopefully. If he sees this video, hello. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about what the future will bring. Every day is something new, every day brings something unexpected, but I'm quite enjoying it. So, until next time.